Explain.
Sometime around 8 o'clock the other night, I headed over to the Wright building to see Justin. We painted a lot back at his old space back on Prospect Street, but since then he's been working here on the second floor. I arrived to find the place as the spaces always are, covered in random knickknacks and vibrant colors. I usually find bright, happy spaces exhausting, but it's always a good break from the bleak and dismal tomb I have built in the barn. We talked for a while until my camera died, so we went to the 7-Eleven for batteries. We could have just continued the process without the camera, but like good millennials, we don't do a damn thing without filming it. For a warm-up, we traded the sketchbook back and forth until we came up with this horrible monster. But the real grind would come when we were transforming one of Justin's older pieces into something new, as follows. Here you can see me starting with the outline of a portrait in dark blue. I don't like to use black as it tends to mud up colors severely when you try to get something realistic, and everything just kind of turns into a gray. Justin likes to apply paint a lot more liberally, as I have learned from painting with him. A technique he uses is to just dig right in with any color he wants. I'd say Justin is more of a freewheeling painter than many of them. Of course, the original idea was to paint a portrait of each other on the same canvas, but as you can see from both of us, we heavily strayed away from that. I was trying to actually paint Justin, but I ended up painting the same kind of form and shape of head that I paint on many of my figures, with a type of long, horse-like face, as I like to think about it. And this guy's face, his jaw drops almost halfway down his neck instead of like Justin's actual face, which is more of a straight pointed jaw and sharp features. We kept going like this for a while until we had dug in so much that there was just way too much paint. It was way too wet to keep applying layers, so we decided to just call it for a little bit and let it dry until we dug back in. So a lot of the times mixing skin tones, we end up with this like pasty, almost yellow color. So what I did here is I took a light wash of watery red and just covered the whole face in it. I then took a rag and I just wiped the excess red right off of it, which left me with, I felt, a more realistic and a more lifelike skin tone. And another technique that I've been using for quite a while is I take my dark spots and I make them real dark. I take my light spots and I make them really, really light. This adds a specific kind of contrast that I find very attractive and that I like to see in other people's art and that I have adopted and used in my own art. This might be taken from my influences in German Expressionism or any kind of abstract, kind of dark and weird art that I guess I've just followed and liked my whole life, whether it's old or contemporary. And we can see as Justin's figure as he keeps painting that one might think he has totally abandoned the idea of painting a portrait of me, but I like to think that he has taken it to a different level, perhaps a different plane of existence, and moved on from the idea of a realistic figure and painted a character or a caricature or just something entirely not real, something totally out of his head, which, if you're a realistic painter, is something we could all learn from. As an art professor I once had told me in a lecture, some of us need to drop less acid and some of us need to drop more acid. And take note of this as you go. You've probably seen this painting take many different shapes as we've gone. You've seen different backgrounds happen. You've seen different style of shirt, clothing, skin tone, hairstyle, all in the same figure. They all seem to maintain the same composition, the same style, the same expression, but we've used different, as I like to think of it, different phrasings. If you're a musician, different voices, different tonality. We're exploring different things as it happens. A painting does not maintain one shape throughout the whole thing. Some people do that, some people appreciate that. But as me and Justin see it, the painting takes on different forms, and it grows, and it ages, and sometimes they just paint themselves. And about after 2 glazes, I'd say, we had 2 different sessions. I think this added up to probably over 2 hours of footage without the time lapse. We have brought our paintings to 2 specific places that we're satisfied with and separated them both with a kind of warm and cold barrier. And whether it is painting, songwriting, performance, or prose, you can sit around all day plotting, pondering, and scheming for your big break, or that one piece that's going to let you quit your day job, or you can keep searching for those defining moments, but they won't happen. The key to being an artist is to be an active artist. And in my eyes, we're already successful, and we should celebrate, because we have broken a barrier between stillness and action, and made something happen. Whether the piece is good or bad does not matter. We made something, it felt good, and we're going to make something again tomorrow. And that is as good as it gets. Art with Friends.